Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for Leo season, or, July, August 2026, whatever your timing paradigm is. I'm here for it and I'm here for you, Aries. So I hope you are well. I'm using my Bulgarian deck for you today, the 777. Things to tell you before we begin. If the reading resonates with you and you would like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that is available at the end via links in the description box below. The first link in the description box will take you to Selfie if you just want the standalone extended for this reading here. If, though, you want more access to more of the extended content that I make, which is a considerable amount, you might consider coming to join my private community, the Order of the Phoenix, on the Circle platform. There you can get access to all of the extended content for all of the signs for every single month. You also have access to the weekly energy readings, and you can come participate in the Deccan Walk, which is proving to be nothing short of life-changing at this point. We are tracking the sun through 10 degrees, every 10 degrees of its movement, and linking it in with the tarot. It's a wonderful system. Anyhow, if you join at the higher tier, you can come participate in the live classes that we run over there on all sorts of things. Numerology, chaos magic, astrology, and tarot, obviously. Chances are, if it's occult, hidden, we're probably studying it. So you'll also get access to all of the recordings of the past classes that we've done too. So there's a free trial for a week on there, so you can come and have a look around, see if you like it, and I would love it if you would stay. Anyway, Aries, let's flip the camera around and have a little chat about what it is that we're going to be looking at here today. So we're going to start off, as we always do, with the most important question that you can ask yourself in 2026, and that is simply, where am I right now? Not what am I afraid of, what am I doing next week, any of that. Where am I right now? And from there, somewhat inspired by the Deccan Walk, actually, we're going to be looking at those Leonine themes that are covered by the 5, 6 and 7 of Wands, which are the corresponding tarot cards to the Decans. So we're looking at notions of struggle and potentially conflict, whether that is with yourself or with someone else. Victory, courage, valor, all these sorts of things. It's actually showing up quite differently for each of the signs, so I'm not going to lock it down to one thing, but we're going to have a look and see what the theme is along those lines for you. And then we'll close out with the second most important question that you can ask yourself in 2026, which is simply, what is my next step? So in the extended, we'll expand on the themes that come out and yeah, like I said, go a bit deeper. So I hope this is okay for you. This is what I have. Let's start off with seeing where Aries is right now, please. Come on, are they hiding? Where is Aries right now? Yeah. What's that? High Priestess. That's interesting. Shuffle all this back together. Where is Aries right now, please? There we go. Right. So we have Queen of Swords. We have the 2 of Swords in reverse. Ooh. And one more card for Aries, please. Right. We've got the Star and we've got the 5 of Pentacles. And what's really interesting about this is that it has the quality of a crossroads kind of energy about it. There isn't a card here that specifically speaks to the nature of a crossroads, and yet these 2 cards here seem to be giving us the implication of that, which is not to say that right in front of you right now you have an option of going one way or another. I would say that this is very much at the processing stage. Processing what? Well, certain things that have come to light recently, whether this is information from outside of you that is new to you, or whether this is information that's coming from within, which actually could be more likely, having seen that High Priestess already, the situation for you. But before I talk about the rest of the cards here, I want to take a minute on these ones, because these are giving me crossroads vibes. But like I said, not in so much as there is a crossroads in front of you and now you must pick one way or the other. It feels like there's a recalibration going on of Aries and what Aries thinks and how your mind works and all that kind of thing. that is recalibrating how you are moving forwards. Why do I mean that? Right. So take a look at these two cards here as they are. We have the star here, represents the sign of Aquarius, and we've also got the Five of Pentacles here, which is strictly a Taurus card, right? Now, what's interesting about this is in both the idea of desire, I feel, is kind of baked in. Why do I say that? Well, the star card is many things. It represents the future. It represents connection too, but it represents a kind of insatiable draw in a particular direction, right? Now, whether that's coming from a state of connection, or whether that's my path is this way, or whether it's your highest hopes, goals, dreams, and aspirations, which is often what this card represents, and sometimes healing as well, right? There is a desire that is being awoken that is causing us to follow our guiding star, if you will, right? Because we trust that it's going to take us where we need to go. But on the other side, we have desire too, but slightly repackaged in a different way, in so much as the Five of Pentacles is a card that deals with poverty. It deals with a not having something, or a fear of not having something. Now, why I find this quite interesting from a desire point of view is that we're arriving at a place where you are deeply understanding the idea of, how can we put it? So the idea of running from something versus running towards something. The idea of what we do to make sure that we have what we need so that we don't go without, versus the really pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone and heading off on the path that is a little less well traveled, and a little less assured, actually. And that's why this has got both the quality of a recalibration about it, but also the quality of a crossroads that will come thereafter. Because the Queen of Swords is a card for me that represents an energy of the Queen trying to help us work out what we think. For me, all of the queens are the internal subjective experience of whatever suit they represent, right? And they help us work out what we think, what we feel, what we do, why we do these things. In fact, the what, where, when, why, how is always, I think, the preserve of the queen. The kings are about doing the thing. They are actioning the thing in one way or another, but they're always doing it off the back of whatever the queen has presented to them. So in this case, we've got this Libra card of the Queen of Swords here, with someone, trying to work out what's true, what's not. What do I actually think about this? What do I think about what I'm starting to see within me that I did not see before? Ugh. Big fly on my leg, that feels like it's been newly revealed. The Two of Swords is the things that we can't see, or that we won't see more often. Sometimes our subconscious puts up walls. It puts up filters so that we don't have to look at things that are uncomfortable. And sometimes that's trauma, sometimes that's an ego thing. We all have pockets of our existence, pockets of ourselves, in fact, that we can't really get a good look at. And it's only when we see our shadow, we perceive our shadow doing something, that we recognize that there's something going on here that we didn't really notice before. And for me, it's the blindfold over the eyes, right? This is a big one. I am quite literally blinding myself to something. But the moon is in the background. We've got this water, I guess it's water in the background here. It's usually how it's depicted in most tarot cards, right? Where we've got both the intuition and the emotions sitting at the back of someone, not being looked at, not being consciously observed. And because this woman is usually sitting with the swords over her chest like this, trying to make a decision between two swords, there is that sense that she's kind of holding herself in a state of rigidity so that she doesn't have to make that decision. And, further, I feel like if she actually took off the blindfold and turned around and consulted her intuition and consulted her emotions, she would see that actually the decision she's been trying to make has already been made. It's just she doesn't want to accept whatever that might mean, right? So this is what we're dealing with when this card is in the upright. When we turn it in the reverse, what we have is a revelation of those things that we did not see before. So in the first instance, we have the Queen, who is processing, and she's usually processing a vast amount of information. But everything to do with the swords is logic, reason, rationality, and all that kind of thing. But it's definitely how we interpret reality as well. We're quite literally using the mind to do that. And if we believe that we can't do something, then that's absolutely correct. So it feels like there's new information that's coming from an internal place that's rising up here, and you're like, huh, I didn't notice that about myself. Maybe it's quite as straightforward as I didn't realize that I was lowballing myself. I didn't realize that I was playing small. I didn't realize that I was coming from a place of fear, running away from something, or trying to shore up a foundation that is a little unstable and moving, versus I am really going out after something that feels meaningful for me. There's something quite purposeful or a purpose highlighting about the presence of the star. It gives us that sense of something to move towards, but it always takes a level of bravery to do that, and not everybody will do that in their life. Now, the fact that these cards are showing up sideways feels to me that the work isn't quite complete yet. It's not a case of, you haven't worked hard enough or anything like that. It just feels like this recalibration stage, while you are paying attention to all of the things that are going on inside of you, is a process that is ongoing at the moment. Maybe it's been going on for a few weeks now. But there is truly a sense that where you go from here, you're going to end up choosing one thing or the other based on whether you accept yourself playing small, coming from a state of a fear of lack, or whether you're ready to put yourself right out there and pursue what really does feel meaningful and purposeful to you. The expression on the Queen of Swords face just seems to give me that sense here, because once seen, something can't be unseen. And I think there are very few Aries out there in the world that I've ever met who would accept, because you're warriors, right? You would accept that you are going to live your life small because you are scared of going without. That seems to me to be antithetical to the nature of Aries, full stop. Definitely to the nature of fire, right? So we know that this is in the offing. We know this is not too far away. Perhaps it is in Leo season. We'll have a look in a second, where this, these options are presented to you by the universe, right? I don't think someone's actually going to knock on your door and say, would you like this amazing job, or something like that, right? It's a case of, where are you willing to put yourself without necessarily any guarantees of success, in order to pursue what is meaningful for you. And this Hierophant at the bottom of the deck, I think, is serving quite an interesting dual purpose here, on account of the fact that the Hierophant does represent matters of hierarchy. It represents matters of authority, and sometimes divine authority, right? But equally, he can simply represent not only the status quo, but the way in which things should be done because they've always been done that way. It's one of the bugbears that I have with the Hierophant, because it's fixed earth. It is quite rigid, but it is that rigidity that makes it solid and stable and dependable and predictable. On the rather more negative side, it means that things like growth and change happen so slowly that it's almost imperceptible. Now, it's a Taurus card. We can see that Taurus would align here with the other Taurus card of the Five of Pentacles. This would definitely be the playing it safe, playing it small, making sure that we have just what we need so that we don't go without, versus this much more expansive, much higher, because it's air, sense of whatever's going on in the star right now. But the other way of looking at the Hierophant is through his position as a teacher, the word Hierophant actually means like a decoder of the mysteries. This is someone who can accurately, one hopes, take in the information that is being presented to them by divine sources at any given point, and interpret that not only in a way that they can understand, but in a way that other people can understand too. Right? This makes the Hierophant a teacher, and also a leader, and also a guide. Now, some of you may be rolling your eyes at this point, because I have been going on for probably going on 3 years now about this as a concept, and particularly for this period right here. What have we got underneath the Hierophant? We've got the Four of Pentacles. Now, this is really, really interesting, Aries. Oh, look, there's the Seven of Wands underneath there. Because the question that I don't want to poke the bear, Aries. I don't want to poke the bear, but at the same time, I need to ask you straight up and maybe fairly brutally, fire sign to fire sign, like, why are you playing so small? Why have you been playing small? This Four of Pentacles is, to some extent, also a card of fear. It's a card of not wanting to let something go, something that is solid and predictable and reliable and all that kind of thing, to replace it with something else. Actually, within this card here, there is that sense if we let go of what we've got, it's not going to come back to us in any kind of meaningful sense. And beyond that, like, we might end up with this cavernous void in front of us where stuff used to be and now stuff isn't, except that we know that the universe is generative. We know this for a fact. So when we create space, what we actually do is invite something new in. And I can't help but feel like there's a little bit of surprise going on in Aries here, that there is this fear, it's still kind of flickering like a flame deep down in you somewhere. Now, looking at it from that perspective, you could see why the Hierophant would be here, because the Hierophant's like, well, we don't want to change anything. We don't do that round here. We do it like this because it's always been done like this. This is safe, solid, secure, reliable. And we don't have to worry about lack so much if we keep everything moving straight. But at the same time, the Hierophant is also an invitation to evolve beyond that state here and take on the role of someone who can be in the world but not of it, which is to say, transcend the material considerations that may be keeping you small right now and allow yourself to expand beyond them. Because that Seven of Wands that's sitting beyond both of those cards it's a Leo card, but it is Mars in Leo. It is a card of courage. It is a card of bravery. It's it makes me think of this one for some reason. I have no idea why. The little dog in Labyrinth, or maybe the knights that say me in Monty Python. Right? That's just a flesh wound. I imagine that's probably what the little dog in Labyrinth was based on. Actually, the little terrier that rides on the back of a Dulux dog, you know. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's that it's being able to stand in the midst of a load of people and going, yeah, I'll take you all on. It's just a flesh wound. I can do it. Now, you know, some people, and particularly these people, might be looking at it going, what the fuck is Aries doing? Why are they doing that? Like, that seems like a really, really bad idea. They should just be down here and blend in with the crowd like we do. But that Aries is of the nature of this and that. The question is, are you ready to step into yourself as somebody who is actually kind of surprised and not that impressed with their own, it's the word that I'm looking for. It's not need for security and stability, because I think it's a fairly solid human need, that one. But I think it's the feeling stuck. Maybe even feeling a little bit oppressed by duties and responsibilities, financial or otherwise, you know. Let's pull some more cards out, because I'm interested to see what the timbre of Leo season is bringing for you. Because, I mean, I do think that Leo season is going to make everything very, very loud. We have a lot of things going on in Leo that will affect you, at least by trine, right? The house is connected by trine. So whatever's going on in Leo, or indeed in Sagittarius, is going to end up somewhere in Aries. Now, you have Saturn there, you have Neptune there. In Leo, we've got Jupiter. The South Node is going to be entering during Leo season. We also have a solar eclipse in Leo going on. But wait, there's more. We also, on the other side of the zodiac, have Pluto opposing Jupiter. Pluto's in Aquarius over here. Which is also creating some little ruptures there, which eventually are going to feed out to the other two fire houses too. I imagine it will work the other way around, going to the air houses. So what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of agitational energy going on here that seems very much like I said, I don't want to poke the bear, but it actually feels a little bit like the like the astrology is taking a stick and going, it's now or never. Are you going to do the thing? Are you actually going to do the thing? Or are you going to dream about the thing? Are you going to do the thing, or are you going to keep playing small? What's going on with Aries? So we have the Temperance card, and we have the Seven of Wands again. And we have the... Wow, we have the Hermit with the Hierophant at the bottom of the deck again. And this is really interesting because although I've described this energy as agitational, I think it's less agitational in the way that Aries has traditionally understood it, right? So, you know, that Aries energy rattles and it flares, it's reactive. I mean, sometimes it might be physical or even hostile or something like that, right? It's... For me, Aries energy is like dropping a match onto something soaked in petrol, right? It goes like that. But as soon as the petrol's burned off, then quite often the flame disappears, right? I've noticed that about Aries placements. They go up very fast, but they come down just as fast as well. And because you're cardinal fire, there's always that kind of, you know, big explosive start on something. Now, what this is revealing, which is really, really interesting, is that this agitation is not being experienced by you quite in the way that you would traditionally know it. Why do I say that? The Hierophant is back at the bottom of the deck again, but we also have the Hermit here. So we have Taurus energy, and we also have Virgo energy down here. Now, the Hermit is all about turning within and looking for the answers within. And we know that there's a lot of within stuff going on with you at the moment, Aries. But what's really fascinating is that the combination of these two cards are speaking deeply to wisdom. So we're not talking about a reactive, here's a stupid dare, who's going to do it? It's going to be Aries or Sag, and maybe they're going to get into competition and just, keep expanding how stupid the thing is that they're going to do, like how fire signs, we've all been young once, right? There's something different being engaged here for you. And I guess we should have really thought, I should have overtly stated that when I saw these two cards here together, because Aries is quite often act first, think later. Act first, worry about the consequences if and when they actually happen in the future. But this is not how you're showing up. I mean, this is a Libra card right here, so we're dealing with the other side of the zodiac from you anyway. And Libra is much more about tact and diplomacy, and it's an air sign, so it's thinking about things and it's communicating things. It is more prone to a little bit of intellectual engagement than traditionally you as a fire sign might have done. And it's looking specifically, she is looking specifically at what you did not see about you before, or what you could not see, or what you would not see about yourself before. And the idea of a recalibration, balancing, we can get from the Queen of Swords, because for me she is like a lower echo of the Justice card. There is that Libran quality to it. But we also see it over here in the Temperance card too. Now, temperance means moderation. It means things in balance. It means not overdoing things. And so what we've got is a state here of someone healed to the point where they don't have to be reactive. They can actually take their time to sit and think about things, to reflect on them before they decide what they're going to do. Now, this is not a neutering of you, Aries, which is also really fascinating because that Seven of Wands is right in the center. We've got all of the power, all of the passion, all of the energy and courage of Aries as traditionally understood. But now it's tempered with wisdom. Now it's tempered with an understanding that some things need to go slow and some things can go fast. Some things need a rigid structure and some things can be allowed to flow, or even, dare I say, allowed to flare. What's underneath there? Nine of Cups. I feel like the Nine of Cups has been showing up for you quite a bit, Aries, over the last year or so. And it's not it's not a loud energy. You know, this is not the energy of somebody shouting about how they're going to follow their dreams and all this kind of thing. Right? This is a slow, consistent, disciplined approach to making life better for yourself. You know, when we're talking about the Nine of Cups, obviously we need to talk about things like emotional regulation and things like that. And oh my God, Aries, you seem to have it in spades right now, right? But the Star and the Nine of Cups actually do have quite a lot in common. There are crossover themes between the two. Both of them speak of highest hopes, goals, dreams, aspirations, that sort of thing. But where the Star is quite literally the star in the sky that guides you in that big dramatic fashion, the Nine of Cups becomes more like, what are we doing to effect this? What are we doing to move ourselves towards it? See what I mean? Are we moving towards it or are we moving further away from it? Oh, in the first instance, you know, a little bit of emotional regulation, a bit of a sense of self, a bit of an understanding that, you know, some things are worth waiting for seems to have been the lesson that has been building in the background for you for quite a long time. And now we have this curious and, may I say, beautiful blend of wisdom, sagacity, discipline, but all of the fire of Aries, unneutered, untamed, whatever, but definitely controllable. Right? It's less about the flair and the instant gratification or the thrill of the chase or all those kind of things. It's stretched out. And so Aries as a teacher, Aries as a leader, Aries as a guide. I mean, I'm not talking about you taking on, you know, professionally a teacher role or a healer role or a guide role or a leader role or anything like that. I'm talking about the kind of qualities that you are now, that are now embedded in you, whereby you teach in the way that you live. Fuck, what are we talking about here? We're talking about embodiment. That's exactly what we're talking about. You are managing yourself now. You're not enslaved to those flarier kind of flash in the pan kind of energies. There's a discipline that's been built here. And the fact that you can stop for long enough to consider what has been coming up for you and not rush to react to that or rush to action that or rush to do anything with it. Like you're holding yourself still and you're like, I need to make sure that I deeply understand what I'm now seeing about myself so that when the crossroads appear, when it becomes time for me to make that choice, I'm going to align with the fire. Not with the fire. I'm going to align with the air and follow the dreams, because this is what everything I've done up until now has been building towards. This is extraordinary. Fucking hell. What's the next step for Aries, please? So we have the Page of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Now we've got, like that, we've got the Nine of Wands on its side, which actually I'm not too concerned about here. I mean, the Nine of Swords it often represents the energy of boundaries, needing to make sure that our boundaries are in the right place, right? But just like the Nine of Cups, it speaks of how we manage whatever suit it represents. So here, wherever it's gone, how do we manage our emotions? Do our emotions manage us? In the case of the Nine of Swords, how do we manage our mind? Or is our mind constantly managing us? Here, in the case of the Nine of Wands, we have both boundaries, but we have, why do I do the things that I do? How do I do the things that I do? Right, it's everything that the Queen of Wands, which is your card, would contemplate in the what, why, how, where, kind of processing that the Queen of Wands would do, finds its expression out here in the Nine of Wands, with you actually actioning it. So it's on its side at the moment because there's an order in which things need to happen, right? You need to understand first before you act. Sorry, I'm still deeply impressed with that, right? The reactivity's gone. It's completely gone. So there will come a point where this will come the right way up. But again, we're not having action being specifically highlighted for you here. We've got the Page of Swords. And I like this because then, you know, while you're processing what's been coming up recently, there is some time and space that you are allowing yourself to integrate that information properly, recalibrate, and then begin to see the world from a different perspective based on what you have already processed, already calibrated from. This is a card of creating balance and, you know, being moderate, being temperate, all that kind of thing. But in every moment where we're integrating new information, and particularly when that information is about us, we are subtly shifting the way that we see everything. And so there is there's no resistance to the idea that you're going to see things slightly differently in a couple of weeks' time. You're like, that's fine. That's as it should be. I'm still calibrating all of this stuff. And when I am done, then I'll start to look at things a little bit more differently. And maybe this is the point at which the choice will start to show itself, or the opportunity to exercise that which you have chosen will show itself. This is saying you don't actually really need to take any overt action right now. I'm actually staggered by that. So I'm actually quite floored by this, Aries. And the thing that I'm thinking is a stitch in time saves nine, right? Rather than just expending the energy for the sake of it and careering from one thing to another. And to some extent, then I would say adding to the rather chaotic noise of 2026 in your own environment, you're quite happy to paddle for a little bit while everything finds its level and everything works out where it's going. Sorry, I'm so surprised. I'm literally derailing my own thought processes with this. At the same time, I shouldn't be surprised because this is exactly the direction that you've been going in a long time, Aries. Right? So the fact that there isn't anything for you to do right now doesn't actually feel like a bad thing at all. Like you're busy, you're on with things, you've got stuff going on, and all of this recalibration and understanding and all that kind of thing is happening in the background. And maybe whatever's going on in Leo and going on in your own chart, well, whatever's going on in Leo is maybe not in the first instance dislodging the work of Saturn in your sign. It's like, no, I know how things need to go. I know the time that things need to take. And maybe we're a few weeks off yet from that Leo energy really starting to feed into Aries and Sag, possibly. Now we've got the Knight of Cups here, which is a very gentle energy, and the Empress, which is also equally a gentle energy. This represents the sign of Pisces, and this one, Taurus and or Libra. It's actually ruled by Venus, right? And as a Mars-ruled person, this is not the kind of energy that you usually work with. But I feel from this Knight of Cups, it's actually a request for you to keep emotionally investing in yourself and the wisdom of what you are doing right now. Just because things aren't moving forwards outwardly. Oh, stitch in time saves 9. There we go. That the work that you're doing here is actually massively truncating the amount of effort that you would need to expend if you were trying to do things your normal way, which is to say, you know, normal way. What is normal anymore, right? Let's say pre-2022, right? There's something quieter. There's something more aware going on. And that investment in self and the protection of self is saving you a lot of time in the long run. Well, I think even just the discovery of this and all of its associated meanings and whatnot, I think it's probably come as enough of a surprise to you that you recognise that if anything that you tried to do moving forward from this point would probably be resonating in the energy of this, and that's not where you want to be. So there's something quite bold in choosing not to move, choosing not to do things, but instead keep pouring that energy into yourself, because this Empress is a card of the harvest. It's a card of abundance, actually. But the Empress is quite often depicted as pregnant, not with a child in her arms, but pregnant, right? There's a sense that all things need time to gestate. And that includes us as much as anything else, you know, in these continual death and rebirth processes that we go through. You've lost none of your fire, you've lost none of your passion. But I think you've lost a lot of your rage toward yourself. And in the stead of that earlier version of you, instead we have a much more mature, much more aware, much wiser version of you that doesn't have to have all of the answers, but certainly is aware when it's time to sit and listen for what's coming through. Whatever work is being done here is saving time further down the line, and I think you're acutely aware of that, and you're okay with it. I think you're navigating through the chaos in a way that not only makes sense, but is probably the only way that can make sense during 2026. This is amazing, Aries. I'm totally here for totally here for this. Right, I'm going to go to the extended now, because I want to dig around in this a little bit, quite a bit actually. So if you'd like to join me over there, you're very welcome to do so. You can do that on Selfie, you can do that in Circle. I would be delighted to see you in either place. If that's not for you, I don't know. It's that lyric. Go. What's that from? I've got a metal tune going around in my head. Biding my time until the time is right. God, it's that. Oh, I can't even remember who it is off the top of my head. But that's exactly what it is. Biding my time until the time is right. Whoever would have thought that that would be an Aries theme. And yet here we are. This is outstanding. Right, I'm going to go. Know that I love you all very, very much. I'll see you soon.